Hi, I'm Jules Bott, Executive Chef for Campus Dining here at App State.
And I'm Lindsie Miles, a graduate student in nutrition and dietetics.
And we're going to show you how to make prosciutto wrapped salmon with coconut rice and a citrus relish.
And a Bay Laurel Panna Cotta.
Lindsie, thanks for coming and helping me today. I'm Jules Bott. I'm the Executive Chef here at Campus Dining. A little bit about Campus Dining at App State. We're self-operated, so we're not run by Aramark or Compass or one of those for-profit corporations. We're run by the state, which allows us to be really flexible and do really cool stuff like this. And what we're going to do today is we're going to show our alumnus and friends at home how to cook a nice meal for themselves for family weekend. The menu today is going to be prosciutto wrapped salmon with coconut rice, and we're going to end with a Bay Laurel Panna Cotta for dessert.
Yum. Cool. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm in the graduate program here at App. I did my undergrad in nutrition, and I'm currently studying nutrition with a concentration in dietetics. So my plan is to be a registered dietitian in the next year.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
My boss is a registered dietitian.
Awesome.
Very cool. So, to get started, we'll start with this panna cotta because we want that to set. Now, typically, if you're making this at home, you're going to do this, the day before, so it sets all the way because we want it to be nice and soft, but not loose when it's time to serve it. I did some of that already, but we'll get a batch going right here.
Perfect.
So first thing we need to do is we need to add our ingredients, liquid ingredients first. So if you want to put in this heavy cream. Excellent. And our creme fraiche.
What is creme fraiche?
That is it's kind of like sour cream. It's a cultured French cream. You'll see it's kind of gooey there.
Yeah.
It's really, really rich. It's got a very high fat content, and that's going to come through in that panna cotta and just make it a softer mouthfeel than just sour cream would do. But sour cream would work great if that's what you have at home.
Gotcha. Leave the spatula in?
No, we don't need the spatula.
Okay.
All right, then the bay laurel or bay leaves will go right in.
And what kind of flavor is that going to give?
That's going to give it a slight tea flavor. Just in the background, it's going to be really, really nice.
Cool.
Especially after we garnish it with the berries.
Okay.
The gelatin.
Okay.
Some sugar. And 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla.
Okay.
Perfect. 1/2 cup of water. And we'll just put that on the stove and bring that up to a simmer.
Do you mix yet?
Yep, we'll turn the heat on. You want that to be a medium heat. Oh, and you know what we forgot? We forgot the lemon juice.
Okay.
I have the lemon right here. So if you want to stir that up, I will get this going. If you're making lemon juice, you want to roll the lemon just a little bit to bruise it up on the inside. Maybe not that much, and help you get the juice out of it.
Will this start to thin out as it gets warmer?
Absolutely. All that fat will melt, and we'll be good to go. And we'll just put in some lemon juice. Not too much, because lemon juice will curdle the cream, and we'll have a bunch of ricotta cheese.
Ooh. Keep mixing?
Yeah, go ahead and keep stirring that. So what other programs are in the College of Nutrition?
Yeah, so we have 3 undergraduate programs. We have our DPD program, which is the didactic program in dietetics, and it is for students who are looking to become a dietitian. And then we have the food systems management, and that is going to be for students that want to kind of pursue a role in hospitality or sustainable foods, school systems. It goes more into like the food systems. And then we have the nutrition and wellness, which is our public health and community focus. And that job, or those careers are kind of offered for community, health departments, schools, and so forth.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then we have 2 graduate programs. The one that I'm in is the dietetics, and that is the registered dietitian track, and that is where we have the dietetic internship that follows the 1 year of coursework. And then we have the new program, which is growing rapidly, and that is the public health nutrition track, and both of them get the Masters of Nutrition. So very exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. One of the things I like working about App State is the focus on sustainability.
Yes. We do a lot with the community too, which is really nice.
You know, we have that College of the Blackburn Vinoy Farm from the College of Sustainable Development. That's one of my favorite partnerships with campus dining. I get so much awesome stuff from them. We got some fresh turmeric, and actually the ginger we're going to use today came from the farm. They keep me in. Oh, and they grow some killer peppers.
Cool.
All right, that'll be good. We'll let that simmer a little bit, and then we'll go back to mixing it.
Thank you.
So we're going to fill our wine glasses, and we just chose wine glasses because it's something a lot of people have at home.
Okay.
So they didn't have to go out and buy anything. Now, typically in a restaurant, you go to an Italian restaurant or something, the panna cotta will be served just bare on the plate because they pop it out of like a silicone mold.
Oh, cool.
We'll serve it in the wine glasses, like I said, just because it's something a lot of people have on hand. If you don't have a wine glass at home, any kind of vessel, a soup cup or a coffee cup, a teacup is cute.
Okay.
Really, just anything like that that works. It's just important if you're using wine glasses, just remember they're always going to be top heavy. All right, so we will move this on over, and we'll pull out those bay leaves because no one wants to chew on a bay leaf. You know, I've seen it on, I guess, memes. Can I say that on TV? People finding bay leaves in like Chipotle food or something, getting freaked out. It's just funny. So we'll just pluck these out right here so we don't have to worry about bay leaves in our panna cotta.
Now, the longer that you let the bay leaves sit in there, would it have more of that tea flavor?
It will, especially if you're using the fresh bay leaf. These dry bay leaves, they get more intense when they dry.
Okay.
And once the oils come out, bay leaves, the flavor in the bay leaf is a fat-soluble one.
Okay.
So with all that heavy cream,
It's really going to be...
it's going to absorb it really quickly.
Okay.
Not all herbs are fat-soluble. Some are water-soluble, like mint.
Okay, cool. So this is going in these?
Yep, let's use our measuring cup so we don't spill and splash.
Okay.
Filling it up. That's a little bit warm. I'll just use a towel. All right.
Okay, so I'm pouring these into the glasses.
Yep, be careful, it's hot.
Okay.
And you're just gonna fill it up to about like right there. Give us enough room to kind of maneuver it a little bit. Try not to get it on the edges.
Is that good right about there?
Perfect. So panna cotta is, you know, heavy cream. Typical basic panna cotta is heavy cream set with gelatin. It's supposed to have a nice light jiggle to it. It's very light and refreshing. We wanted to keep everything very light and refreshing for this menu because we're kind of sick of winter and we're kind of sick of quarantines and we kind of want to just relax and refresh ourselves. And I can't wait to get out.
This one might be a little bit lower.
That's all right. We'll give that one to the host.
Okay.
Cool. So we just have to, let's very carefully bring them over to the refrigerator and cool them off. Try not to swirl too much.
Ooh. It's like you're not supposed to look at coffee when you're, you know, walking with it, or you might spill it.
Cool. So we got the panna cotta in the cooler, refrigerating. It's time to start our rice. Coconut jasmine rice. Do you know anything about jasmine rice?
Not really.
So jasmine rice is what's known as an aromatic rice. It means it cooks fairly quickly, uses a little bit less liquid, but it's got a phenomenal smell to it. That's the aromatic quality.
Yeah.
It smells like nutty, almost like almonds, so it's awesome. Makes a great dish. Best thing is keep it really simple.
Okay.
That's why we've just got some fresh herbs. We've got some thyme, bay leaf, and lemongrass. If you don't have access to lemongrass, You can use lemon zest.
Okay.
Just as fine. This flavor is going to be a little bit sharper, but a little less bitter.
Okay.
We need to rinse the rice. Then we'll get everything in the pot. We'll bring it up to a simmer. We'll let it boil for a little bit, and then we'll cover it with our lid and let it just steam on the stove top.
Okay, sounds good. What
So,
would you like me to do?
This is called a chinois.
Okay.
Chinois mousseline, that means it's the mesh one.
Mm-hmm.
And we just need to put the rice in here, and we just need to rinse this rice until the water runs clear.
Okay, sounds good.
So have you been out to the Blackburn Vinoy farm?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's out in Fleetwood. It's very cool.
Okay.
Chip and Todd manage the farm. They've been great partners for us. We love getting our, working with them. We buy a lot of produce from them. Actually, this ginger right here came from the farm. And they gave us some turmeric back in February that was really fun to work with. We used that to make a carrot turmeric salad dressing up at Cascades.
Gotcha. Do any of the students, do you know if they work with the farm at all?
I know that the ones taking classes out there as part of labs and things like that. And they have a student, I don't know if she's still there. It's been a weird year.
Yeah.
Hard to keep up with everyone.
All right, Chef Jules, I think that's running pretty
That
clear.
is perfect. Go ahead and take that out. And we will be good to go. Have you ever used lemongrass?
No, I haven't.
So it's called lemongrass. You know what? It's also called citronella, if you've ever heard of a citronella candle. But you can smell it only after you bruise it. But you can smell that sharp, just like the candle.
Yep.
So when you use lemongrass, what you want to do is actually bruise it first. So what we'll do is 1 stalk of lemongrass, we're going to use the back of our knife, and we're just going to break it up and get that fragrance out. See, like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Woo. See, that's my fault. Chinois don't balance well, and I'm making you balance it. It's all right. If you tell anyone, they won't believe you. It's not like it's on video.
So you do leave it in whole?
You leave
just
it
want
whole,
to-
yeah, because we're going to, just like the bay leaf in that panna cotta and the bay leaf we're going to put in here, we're going to pull this out.
Okay, cool.
So by leaving it whole, bruising it, we get the flavor out, and then it's so easy to just pull out. Same thing when we put our thyme sprig in there. We're just going to leave it whole. It'll cook, the leaves will come off, and then you can pull out the stem and throw it away.
Gotcha. Now, if you don't have the lemongrass, how much of the zest would you use?
I would use the zest of a quarter of the zest of a lemon.
Okay.
And I wouldn't actually zest it. I would use my peeler and just carefully peel just the outside and not
then
get
just
into
sit
the
down
white
there?
pit.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. You ask all the right questions. Professional student.
Try. Then we do coconut milk in there.
Yep, and let's put that can of coconut milk in. Give it a shake so you work that fat in with the liquid a little bit. Okay. I always put a little bit of salt in the rice before I cook it so it gets inside.
This going in?
Right on in. Perfect.
Okay.
1 cup of water. Put that together there. So, rice like this cooks really well in the steamer. I'm used to cooking rice in the steamer at work. But one way you can check to make sure your water is right is if you touch the top of the rice, the liquid should come up to your first knuckle.
Okay, cool.
And that kind of works for everyone's fingers, which is kind of weird because we all have different size hands.
Yeah. How long will this cook for?
We'll bring it up to a boil and then we'll turn it off and let it steam where it's at for about 15 minutes.
So you put the whole sprig of the thyme in, you don't pull it off?
Just
Okay.
like that. That way we can pull it out there
Yep.
really easy. Put that on medium high heat, and we'll let that come to a simmer.
Okay.
While that's coming to the simmer, we can get ready to do our salmon. So for that, we actually need to get our citrus out of the cooler, our prosciutto, and let's go grab that and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, so while the rice is simmering, we went ahead and we got the salmon, our citrus fruits, we have our fresh herbs out here, and our prosciutto,
Yep.
and we'll work on wrapping the salmon while we let that cook.
Okay. Now, what citrus fruits do you have? See, there's
So,
lime.
Oranges, limes, and lemons. Now, this is going to be a very fresh, like I said, very fresh dish. So the lemons and limes are intense. That's why we have a little bit of sugar to add to it.
Okay.
And blood orange is my preferred orange. First of all, it's just so visually
Appealing.
appealing, just so there. It also has a nicer flavor than a lot of like a Valencia orange. It'll have more of a berry-like flavor, almost borderline savory and meaty, which will really play off lemons and limes very well.
But at home, any oranges, limes, you're good to go?
Absolutely. If you don't, or if you just don't like blood oranges, and you could use grapefruit segments or anything like that.
Okay.
So what we have here is, you notice I got us 2 pieces of plastic wrap. This is the trick. Everyone that thinks they could just read the recipes and not watch the show. Of getting the prosciutto to stick to the salmon.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever done it. It looks so easy to wrap something in
not.
prosciutto, but it is absolutely not. It tends to come off and stick to the pan once you start cooking it.
Okay.
So the trick is, we get it really tight with the plastic wrap, then we let it sit for a few hours. It'll in the fridge.
Okay.
It'll kind of stick to the salmon better, and we'll have much more success. It'll look way more professional product when we're done.
Okay.
So thinly sliced prosciutto. I did not slice my own prosciutto because I find it so much easier just to buy thinly sliced prosciutto. And you'll want to go ahead and take a couple thin pieces, lay them out on that plastic wrap. Pay attention because you're going to do yours next.
Kind of overlap in a little bit.
Yep, you
Okay.
overlap it just a little bit. And that's going to be the base for that prosciutto wrap.
So you do about 3 pieces.
Yep, and go ahead and get yours set up like that while I start zesting us our citrus.
Mine's not going to look as pretty, but
Oh, I'm sure it will.
do you do this recipe often?
I've done it at work. I did it at the last place I worked, actually, in Sea Pines. It was pretty popular there. It's a take on saltimbocca. You know, saltimbocca is prosciutto wrapped, chicken or salmon.
Okay.
Typically, that'll have a fresh sage leaf in it.
Gotcha.
A lot of people find sage to be pretty intense, and this is just kind of a lighter take with thyme and tarragon.
Gotcha. Does this look okay?
That looks perfect.
Cool.
So we zest our fruits first, and then we're going to reserve them. We'll come back to them to cut our segments or supremes for our relish.
And how much are you
salad.
zesting? Most of it?
Just all the way around each fruit. I just did a lemon and an orange there.
Okay.
That'll give us plenty. So let's go ahead and season our fish. Salt and pepper. I love the sound of cracking pepper. And our citrus zest. So we're going to want to rub that in. Turn it over.
Do the same thing on the other side?
Yep. And this is Scottish salmon. This is from Loch Duart. So pretty good stuff. Have that. It's still a farm salmon. It's more sustainably farmed than Chilean farm salmon or some of the Canadian farm
Right.
salmons. And the diet they feed them really leads to that pink color and lots of fat.
That's what I was going to say.
You can actually see the rings.
Which is going to give it the flavor, right?
Yes,
somewhat?
actually it helps with the flavor. It's going to keep it moist. So
Okay.
if we forget and overcook it, no one will know.
Okay.
So we're just going to rub that in there. But any salmon can work, you know, any salmon you would get from the grocery store. These are 6-ounce portions, and if you go to the seafood section of the grocery store, they'll cut it however you want.
Okay.
So for this part, we will take the time off the stem. We're not going to worry about chopping it though.
Okay.
Some of those little stems, they're not going to matter in there. We're just going to pull it apart, sprinkle it in there.
I love thyme. It's also good.
And that's a trick. And that's, if you're talking about like cooking the best food you can at home, I mean, one of the most important things is fresh ingredients.
Yes.
And even when it comes to your seasoning, if you just are always reaching for the garlic salt, onion salt, dry herbs, it's going to taste kind of, you know, dry.
Yes.
But easy way to just pep anything up is get the fresh garlic. Cut some fresh onion, get some fresh herbs. Makes a huge difference.
And then this is that you're putting on right now?
This is the tarragon. So about 3 tarragon leaves per salmon. Tarragon is one of the famous French herbs, and it has a slight anisette flavor, and it's slightly sweet.
Now, if you didn't have these herbs at home, what would you do?
So if I didn't have access to fresh herbs at home, my go-to would be dry herbs de Provence blend. And it's not quite the same selection of herbs, but the overall impact, I mean, it has lavender and things
Right.
like that in it, but the overall impact is also going to be very floral, which is going to lead you to that fresh,
Okay.
lead your brain to that fresh flavor area.
Okay.
So we have that seasoned up. We're going to take them, put the tarragon side down on the prosciutto. We're going to use our plastic wrap to get just a little bit of a head start on the wrapping. Now at this point, we don't want to pull back and put too much pressure on it because
Okay.
it'll rip.
Yeah.
You'll find this rips very easily. So we're just going to very gently continue to roll it until it's fully wrapped. Now this is the trick for a good firm wrap that is not going to come off in the pan. You're going to go around again, kind of wrap it up like a sausage, and then you're going to tighten it. Just like that. Now once this refrigerates for a couple hours, it's going to be on there very well, and we're not going to have any issues at all when it comes to searing it off.
So this down, right in here.
Yep, perfect. Perfect. Yep,
Pull this up.
yep, just to start that first wrap. And then bring it back down. And just with your hands very carefully, roll it over. So you're an excellent sous chef. So now you're going to take it back, put it down here, and you're going to roll it up like a burrito or a sausage. And you can get a little more aggressive now
Okay.
because the plastic wrap won't rip.
Keep going.
Yep.
And then how did you do that little?
Yep, grab the 2 ends, and then all you have to do is kind
Oh,
of
okay.
use might be easier on the cutting board.
Yeah.
Use the friction to tighten it up a little bit for you. Perfect.
Okay.
So we'll wrap this one, and we'll get these in the refrigerator, and then we'll be back, check our rice, and start prepping our relish.
Cool. And how long do these sit in the refrigerator?
2 hours at least. Overnight's perfectly even better.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got the salmon wrapped and in the refrigerator, and we're ready to start prepping the citrus relish.
Okay.
This is going to be the part that really brightens up that dish and brings it together. So we have arugula. This is fennel,
Okay.
sweet anise, delicious flavor, almost like a licorice flavor. And we have our citrus fruits. and the ginger from the App State farm. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and it's called supreming or sectioning the citrus fruit.
Okay.
And look, I have enough. One for me, one for you.
Thank you.
One for me, and one for you. So you're best off using your paring knife.
Okay.
Have you ever peeled a melon?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Not a melon.
Okay, so you're going to cut a little bit off both ends to make a flat spot. Oh, see that beautiful color? I love it. Perfect. Now if you look over here, it's a round fruit, so I'm going to follow the shape of the fruit. I'm not going to go straight down. I'm going to keep my motion round, and I am just going to cut away that peel until I see nothing but dark red orange. Keep going. I'm just going to move this along. Perfect. So now, this is the only trick to it. Look at the back. Well, pay attention to the front of your knife at all times. But if you look at the back of your knife and if you keep the back of your knife behind this line of the pith, you will have a perfect peel. And it definitely looks like I took the darker of the two oranges. And I am okay with that.
Mine's not very round.
Well, that's where 26 years of doing it professionally for a paycheck comes into play. It's much easier to keep it round when you have to keep it round. Look at that. You're doing a great job. And I'm just going to start preheating a pan for our salmon. Medium-high heat.
Okay.
Perfect. So we'll want to do this over a bowl to help collect the juice. So let me show you what we're doing really quick. We're going to cut the first section out in a V-cut. And we're going to reserve that. We do it this way just to help keep it whole.
Okay.
It's really easy to break them. The next cut, we're going to go straight down. We're going to use our knife to just pop it out the other side. See how I did that?
I think so.
That way we get a better yield on the orange and we don't leave a bunch of orange flesh stuck to the pith. Just go ahead. It's all right.
You cut the V.
Yep, your first cut's a V cut.
Going all the way to the middle to cut it out.
Yep. And try to hold, support that back end of your knife, or of the orange, in the cup of your hand. You see how I'm holding it like it's nestled in?
Yep.
Just makes it a little bit easier.
Ooh, it fell apart.
You got it. It's gonna fall apart. It's supposed to.
Okay, so
Perfect.
since mine fell, what is the best way?
Still doing the same thing. You're just gonna go cut down here,
Okay.
and then, oh yeah, yours is very soft.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's not your fault it fell apart. It's extremely ripe. Which means yours is gonna taste better than mine. But mine's gonna look better than yours.
But which matters? The
Well, they
taste or
both
what
matter.
it looks like?
They both matter. So how long have you been in Boone?
So this is my 5th year up here. Like I said, I did my undergraduate here. So this is my last year. And then I will go on to do my dietetic internship.
Where?
I'm hoping to get Hickory, just right down the mountain. But our program offers multiple locations all throughout the state. So anywhere from Raleigh to Charlotte, Wilmington, Greensboro, Asheville.
Awesome.
How long have you been?
This
area?
round, I've been up here for about 3 years. And then before that, I spent 3 years on Hilton Head.
Okay.
which was a nice, fun change, completely different environment. And then before that, I actually lived in Newland for 3 years. And then the bulk of my life, I was around Pinehurst. You know where Pinehurst is? Yep. My family have a house in Jackson Springs, just outside of Pinehurst. So after culinary school, we went to Johnson Wales in Charleston.
Cool.
That's where I met my wife. She's also a chef, or she was until she decided she wanted to have all those babies and stay at home.
Okay, so what should I do here? I've made a mess.
So let's see. You did great. You did great. I'll just finish this part out because it's a little
Okay.
tricky here.
And then this one.
Yeah, you just cut that out in a V. Okay. Oh, it smells so good.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just collect all those sections in the bowl here.
Okay.
Keep your jacket white there.
Thank you.
And I got to say, working for App State's been a very rewarding part of my career. It's a little bit more rewarding. You can just move your
Thank you.
peels into here. Then slugging away in the kitchens down on Hilton Head.
What is your favorite thing about App?
Oh, wow. I really like the sustainability component. That was a big selling point for me. It's a very sustainable college. The location is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone up here is so friendly.
That's what I was going to say, the community.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty awesome. Then the lime, you're going to find this is much easier.
Okay.
Because limes are always underripe.
Yes.
So same thing, you're going to cut it top and bottom. Perfect. Yep, and then you'll just, again, working in the round shape, get that peel off. And peeling a cantaloupe, honeydew, pineapple, they all peel the same way.
Now I know how to do it.
Yep.
What made you want to go into culinary?
Oh, wow. Good question. I just always really liked food and was always really curious about it. And that's honestly what led that charge. My first job was in the kitchen, Seven Lakes Country Club, dishwasher and prep cook. And just got into it, fell in love with it. Went to culinary school, like I said, met my wife there, and it's the challenge is fun.
Mm-hmm. The science.
The science.
What's cool about it.
The challenge. What's really cool is watching people eat and enjoy what you made, and putting like two new things together. Like, I wonder how this will come out.
Yeah.
So again, same thing. You're going to start with that V cut.
Okay.
Perfect. And then get on the other side of that white pith, cut it down, and then just pop it off on the other
Ah,
side.
so much easier.
So much easier. Well, my orange was working better for me than my lime, and your lime is working better for you than your orange. There we go. And yeah, we do want to collect as much of this juice as possible because we're going to use this to make our vinaigrette for our salad dressing. And that blood orange gave that citrus juice such a nice color. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, you look like you've been doing this for forever.
Did you squeeze?
Yep, squeeze into this.
Okay.
That's where we want the juice. Excellent.
Okay. Then these go in here.
Yep. Perfect. So, and if you want to go ahead and grab that salmon, we'll start searing that while we put the rest of this relish together. And do you see how after spending some time in the refrigerator,
Yes.
that prosciutto is sticking so much better to itself and to the salmon? So that's really the trick when you're prosciutto wrapping. It's not sticking a toothpick in it, like you'll see a lot of people do.
Right.
It's actually just a little bit of pressure and overnight, and it's going to start sticking to itself. So we're just going to put a little oil in our pan, medium-high heat again. And you do want to pay a little bit of attention to where the seam sides are, just because it's going to help you in the long run to have those seam sides down first. And it might not be the same on every piece,
Right.
depending on how well I wrapped them when I wrapped them yesterday.
How long are these going to cook for?
It'll only take about 12 minutes. And we can just get those going for us. And you want to let them rest. Don't keep moving them. You want that prosciutto to get a chance to get crispy, render down a little bit. Cook that fat out.
Do we flip it all?
We will turn them in about 4.5, 5 minutes. And I could tell just from how violently the oil was in the pan that it was a little too high, so I just turned it down a little bit so that we have time to work on some of this
You
stuff.
can smell the prosciutto.
Isn't that good?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so we have our citrus segments, we have our arugula, we need our fennel. So what we're
Okay.
going to do with the fennel, now you don't want to cut your fennel too early because it'll oxidize, it'll turn dark. Counteract that with some lemon juice, but you just cut it fresh too.
Okay.
But we want to save some of these tops, so we're actually going to save all these tops. I'll take them back to campus dining with me, and we'll use them to garnish there.
Okay.
But these make great garnishes, and we're going to throw a couple in our salad, and we'll end up garnishing our panna cotta with these as well.
Would you like me to do the same with this one?
Absolutely. Perfect. So it's going to be shaped quite a bit like an onion in here. It's layered as it grows up. It's not a root, it's actually considered a globe. Difference being a tuber or a root would grow underground. But you can go ahead and just cut it in half like that. You can smell the licorice, the anise flavor now.
Yeah. Do you cut the bottom?
Yep. And we're actually going to core this out right here, this little triangle piece. And we are prepping enough for double portions because there's 2 of us prepping, but it's a little bit more fun that way.
How did you do the...
So I use my paring knife. You could use the tip of the chef's knife. When you're using the chef's knife, you should probably want to hold it right there.
Okay.
Bring it into your hand like that. It's like a baseball bat. You choke up on it for control. You slide your hand down for force.
Okay.
So you'll just want to cut that out,
Gotcha. Thank you.
just like that. All right, and let's turn our salmon over and look at how well we're getting a sear on that. And yeah, that smell is definitely coming out. Perfect. Now with this part, we're going to shave it. So what I want you to do, how comfortable are you using that knife?
I don't know. Is it pretty easy?
So what we want to do is, you know the claw grip,
Yes.
all right? And now I want you to pay attention to how you're standing at that cutting board. If you were working for 8 hours a day at that cutting board, you're going to hurt your back because you're leaning into it so much. and you're kind of torquing your wrist. If
Okay.
you look at how I'm standing on my cutting board, my arm is parallel with the side of the cutting board.
Okay.
So I'm not having any awkwardness in my
Okay.
shoulders. But you want to get that claw going on, your thumb far behind, and you're just going to slice as thin as you can, starting at the bottom of that.
I don't think mine's as thin as yours.
That's all right. As long as we don't put them side by side, no one will notice. If you'd rather me come to your house and cook the meal for you, we can arrange that, but I will get paid by the hour. Perfect. And you can just put that right in here. We don't have to worry about cutting that other half because we both cut a half.
Okay.
So have you ever used ginger root before?
I have used it, but I've never peeled it.
Okay. You actually don't have to peel it. The peel is very paper thin. So for a lot of purposes, no one will even notice.
Okay.
But it makes a lot of people feel good to peel it. So you would actually peel it just like you would peel any kind of fruits. If you're not comfortable cutting towards your hands, you could do it on the cutting board as well. Depends on what you've had experience doing. There you go. And you could use ground dried ginger, but again, just the freshness from using the fresh ginger root it's going to make monumental difference in preparing this dish. I just put the salmon in the oven to let it finish there. That way I don't have to have it in the back of my mind
Okay.
and potentially forget about it. I would do the same thing at home too.
How long will it be in the oven?
Probably for another 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
We'll check it as soon as we get this relish done. Perfect. So then we'll just take our microplane. I only brought one. And we'll just run it down the microplane just like when we zested our citrus.
Okay.
This gets all the hairs out. If you don't use a microplane or a very strong blender,
Yeah.
you get a lot of hair, and it's actually the fiber from the root in the final product, and that's just not enjoyable. So just like that, and you can go ahead and do a little bit of yours.
Thank
We'll
you.
use a little bit of both.
It smells so good.
Yeah, I like all the colors, flavors, and textures. We were talking about what I liked about cooking, and I mean that's a big part of it. You know, when we plan a menu, we have to think about all those different things. You know, not just the flavor, but we got to have some different textures, some nice colors, really make it pop. And this one will definitely pop. You'll see it when on that final plate up. Perfect. So let's put our ginger in the bowl. Perfect. This is where we're going to go ahead and add some sugar. Actually, I think over there on that cart, if you don't mind grabbing it for me, is another little container of sugar. Excellent. And this is one of those things, you know, I might like it sweeter than you. You might like it a little sharper. We're gonna prepare this to taste,
Okay.
right? Can leave out a little bit. You can use honey instead. Honey is a great alternative. It adds a little bit more flavor. It's also a good emulsifier. So sugar doesn't emulsify,
Right.
and honey will emulsify. It'll help get that oil mixed in there really well and to help coat everything. But we'll be using sugar today. And I'm going to just equal the amount of ginger in there. So that'll be about a teaspoon. We'll start with that. And if we think it's not quite sweet enough, we can just always add a little bit more. And we're going to add our ginger in there. And then the citrus juice, because there's orange juice as well and lime juice, that we saved from preparing our segments. And also that'll just help keep everything fresh too. And we're going to whisk that together. Try to get that sugar to dissolve a little bit. And now we're going to add our fat. So basic vinaigrette, 1 part vinegar to 3 parts oil. And we're going to pretty much want to go and do that as well, because a lot of this is pretty intense citrus. Lime juice is pretty strong stuff. So we're just going to add, we're going to get a temporary emulsion because we didn't use honey. We're not going to stress out about that because we're just going to toss everything with the arugula when it's time to plate up, and it'll be good to go. Let me grab a fork and let's taste this and see how it is. So to taste the sauce with the fork, you'll just put the bottom in and see if we like the sweetness of that. I think that's about on point.
Yeah, I like
it's got
it.
a little bitter going on. That's actually from the olive oil. I think it just needs a little salt.
To taste as well.
Yep.
Cool.
Again, just a preference. You know, some people don't like to add salt to anything, and we already have a lot of salt going on with all the prosciutto wrapped around that salmon. But I, for one, do like salt. All right, will you go ahead and cut a knob of butter off of that chunk of butter I've made you look at all day long?
Yes. How much would you like?
About a tablespoon.
About right there.
Perfect. All right, and we're just going to cut that into a couple slightly smaller pieces to go in there with our salmon.
Okay.
So when you're cooking the salmon, one of the things we're going to be looking for is where it starts to get a little white coming out of the side. Do you know what that is?
Is that the fat content?
That's called albumin.
Okay.
And it's a sign that the fish is cooking and getting cooked thoroughly. Right, and you can see right around here, right around there. So that's how we know that this is perfect. If there's a ton of albumin coming out, it means you've overcooked it, and your best bet is use even more butter.
Okay.
And then not tell anyone.
Okay.
And that's good. I think that's all we need going on there. Let's go ahead and start assembling our plates. We need to taste our rice and make sure we're happy with that. That's been on the back here. Remember, we brought it to a simmer, put a lid on it, turned it off.
Looks fluffy.
So before we taste, we are going to fluff it with the forks.
Okay.
That's just to break up the starch so it's not gummy. And use a fork so you don't smash the kernels, because once the rice is fully cooked, it's kind of delicate. So we'll just kind of go through, pull out our herbs when we find them. That bay leaf so we don't get put on Instagram.
Where's the bay leaf?
You got to find that bay leaf. Perfect. And you can smell that coconut So rice won't absorb fat. It's only going to absorb the water. So that creaminess and what's going on there, that's the fat from the coconut on the outside. Just make sure that it's seasoned well. I think that's delicious. What do you think?
Very good.
And with the salt and we seasoned our salad dressing. We seasoned the salmon and wrapped it in prosciutto. And I don't think we need to add any more salt to that because that's going to be kind of our baseline. So we'll bring that over here. Now that's good. And let's start composing our salad. So we have that pound of arugula. Go ahead and add the fennel to that.
Okay.
Perfect. Give it a toss.
I smell the licorice.
Yeah,
from
that
the fennel.
anisette. That's
Yeah.
nice. It's one of my favorite flavors. In fact, people make fun of me for it at work. Like, oh, Jules is coming, hide the fennel. He's gonna put it in everything. And then we'll just add our citrus segments to this. What we'll want to do though is we're gonna reserve some to help us garnish the top out for a really nice presentation when it's time there. So we'll just toss some of these in. And then our salad dressing. And let's go ahead and use tongs for this so we don't get too messy. So when you're tossing the salad, you're not actually like tossing it. You're rolling it around in the bowl.
Okay.
You're trying not to bruise the leaves. So I'm going to get it all in one direction first. I'm going to add some of this dressing. And you see that blood orange color, that's why I wanted to use it. It's already making a difference there. And I'm just slowly rolling around the bowl. I'm not really pinching it together. This way I'm not breaking up my oranges, I'm not bruising my arugula. Oh yeah, that's nice. And we can go ahead and taste the salad, but we've tasted all the components of it, so I don't feel like we need to. We can just move right on to our plate up. So we've got our salmon cooked, our rice is ready, we've made our salad with citrus relish, and it's time to put it all together on the plates here. We're using these nice square plates. You can really use any plate you want. First thing we'll put down is the rice. And that's just to give us a little platform to put our fish on, to get a little height that way.
Now, do you have any tricks and tips to plating?
Go closer to the center than you think you need to. On some plates, you know, these are kind of small plates, but if you have a large plate, don't feel like you've got to fill up the whole plate. It's perfectly okay to leave some white space. Just a little contrast with the food. And then just try to plate them all as closely as you can to each other. And you don't have to go too heavy. You're a nutritionist. I don't have to tell you this. You don't have to go too heavy on the rice. It's a cheap way to bulk a plate, but that's a nice piece of salmon we're about to put on it, and that salad. So we'll fill them up just fine. So, look at that. See the nice sear we've got. You see how the prosciutto became translucent. You can kind of see the herbs going on. So we'll take that out and we'll just
Put it on top of the rice.
Yep. Use that rice to get a little height with the salmon, so it's kind of right there.
Yeah.
That does smell really good. And will you pass me that salad bowl?
Yes.
So again, we're just going to be careful. We're going to try not to pinch and bruise too much here. We're just going to put some of this on the salmon like that. Let it fall a little bit. And we reserve some of those citrus segments so we can go back and just make sure everyone has a couple of nice pieces of blood orange, fresh pieces of lime. Oh yeah, exactly. Perfect. And that's really why I wanted to get those blood oranges. You see on this final plate, we've got the white, we've got the green. It really needed some red to make it pop. With that red on there, I mean, that's awesome. Very cool. So we'll move these over here and we'll go ahead and finish up those panna cottas. Perfect. So you'll see here, this is why I wanted to be careful when we were moving them in there. You can see I splashed a little bit moving this one in. That's going to be hard to get off of the glass. You can use some lemon juice on a napkin to help with that, but I am all out of lemon juice.
Could we use any of that?
We don't really want to get the red color in there. But that's fine. If you have hypercritical guests, you'll just have to go to the store and buy some more lemon juice. White vinegar would also work, so it's not a big deal. It's only embarrassing anyway when you're a professional chef and it happens. This is the fennel top we saved. We're going to use this for garnish, and we are going to macerate some berries quickly. All right, so now it's time to finish off the panna cottas. You notice we have the fennel top from when we cleaned that. We'll use that for garnish. We have some fresh berries here. We're just going to do a quick macerated berry. So we're just going to put our berries in this bowl. We're going to use a little bit of citrus juice left from making that salad. If a piece of the orange falls in there, that's perfectly okay. It'll just help everything out in the long run. And just a slight, light sprinkle of sugar. If the berries are really ripe, it doesn't take much.
Right.
The whole point of the sugar isn't to sweeten the berry, it's to pull the moisture out.
Okay.
That's what macerate means. So we're just going to toss them with that, and that sugar and that citric acid. It's going to start pulling the juice out of the berry, and that just makes it so nice when we're eating our panna cotta. So we'll just go ahead and take a couple of each berry and place them in the glass. And again, using the red and the blackberries, you could use strawberries, you could use blueberries, but just, you know, just to help things look a little more elegant, look a little more refined when it's time to serve this to your dinner party.
And you're kind of putting like a berry on top of each other too to give it that height?
Yep, exactly. So I was trying to arrange them in there to get a little height from the berry and catch the eye a little bit there. And then this is really tender, and it has that same sweet anisette flavor. And we'll just make a little ponytail out of that to put in there.
Are there any other fruits that pair well with the panna cotta?
Oh, absolutely. You could do almost any fruit you wanted with the panna cotta. Citrus fruits are pretty popular. We already have that going on in our main course there.
I was just thinking you could do holiday themed based on the color of the
Oh,
fruit.
absolutely. You could do a holiday theme, and you could make this taste like a eggnog panna cotta. You could get some nutmeg in there. Absolutely. You can do a lot. You can do a savory panna cotta. One of my favorite ones I used to make was a goat cheese panna cotta. It's just really nice. It's a really nice light
Yeah.
starter finisher. It's just what's so nice about it is it doesn't cling to your palate.
Gotcha.
And we were trying to think of that the whole way through this menu planning with nice light dishes to remind us of spring. All right, well, let's carry everything out to the table, and you can go ahead and try.
All right, sounds good.